Welcome, everyone, to this meeting of the South Kingstown Town Council. It is Monday, March 28th. The time is 7:30, and our first order of business is to pledge the flag. Please rise and join me. Thank you. Will the clerk take the roll, please?
Council President Collins.
Here.
Council Vice President Healy.
Here.
Councilwoman Clow.
Here.
Councilwoman Gledhill.
Here.
Councilman Veely.
Here.
All members present.
Item 4 on the agenda is the approval of minutes of previous meetings.
I make a motion that we approve item 4 as presented in our package, both A and B.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. Item 5 is our consent agenda.
I motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously as well and brings us to item 6, licenses. 6A is a resolution granting a victualling license to Green Line Apothecary of Main Street, Wakefield, application by Christina Procaccianti, member of 41 Winter Street. Christina,
Hello.
how are you?
Good, how are you?
And just state your name for the record.
I am Christina Procaccianti. I am the owner and pharmacist at Green Line Apothecary.
Welcome. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
So Green Line Apothecary is a full-service retail pharmacy, boutique-style retail pharmacy inspired by the vintage apothecary of days gone by. We are a full-service pharmacy. You can come and fill your prescriptions, but we have a beautiful soda fountain. We can fill all of your traditional retail needs, but we're doing it in the spirit of days gone by.
What are your hours of operation?
We will be open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
You're actually my neighbor,
Oh,
also on Winter Street. I used to be a pharmacy tech, so I know that's a tough business sometimes, but I think that's great, and I like the idea with the soda fountain. I think that's really neat.
thank you.
Have you opened up any other places, or is this your first one?
No, this is my first time opening a pharmacy,
Oh, great.
but my roots lie in independent pharmacy. The business is independently owned. We are not part of a chain, and we are completely family-owned and operated. I had my 2-, 4-, and 6-year-old daughters sweeping the floors this week.
Put them to work.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with the name for
Green Line Apothecary is a love story. My husband and I met on the Green Line in Boston. So,
Very exciting.
yeah.
Well, it was nice to see the signage going up. I actually saw your husband out there up on the ladder himself.
Yeah, it's a real passion project for me. This is a dream coming true. I love everything about being a pharmacist, and this is really a dream for me, being able to practice pharmacy the way I want to practice it. So,
Excellent. I wish you luck.
thank you.
Are you looking for help? Or
Tons
do-
of it. Must love ice cream.
Awesome.
I think this town does.
Yes. We were just talking about that.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 6A.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. I hope to see all of you there.
Oh, you will.
And with that, we come to our public hearing, and this is in regard to a proposed amendment to the town charter. As you can read on your agenda, it would change the way that council members get appointed when there's a vacancy on the council here. So it reads, council members shall be elected at large, or this is the proposed change, which we would then vote on if this gets put on our ballot. And council members shall be elected at large as herein provided for a term of 2 years or until a majority of the newly elected town council shall have qualified and taken office. Any vacancy in the membership of the town council at any time shall be filled by the candidate in 6th place in the most recent election for town council, provided he or she meets all qualifications as herein set forth and consents to filling such vacancy. Should this individual decline the office or no longer qualify to serve thereon, the vacancy shall be filled by the candidate in 7th place in the most recent election for town council, provided he or she meets all qualifications as herein set forth and consents to filling such vacancy. Should both of these individuals decline to fill the vacancy or no longer qualify to serve thereon, or there were no candidates other than the 5 elected to office, the remaining members of the town council shall, by majority vote, fill the vacancy by appointment of a person of their choosing who is qualified to serve as herein provided. So, Steve, do you have any further?
This one's sort of out of my league, above my pay grade. I think the most important thing here is that the council back on February 4th sat down after advertising for an informational hearing on asking the public if there were specific issues in the charter that they would like the council to review. There were 3 specific issues that night that were discussed. One dealt with the potential for looking at nonpartisan elections. The second was the term of the council going from a 2 to a 4-year term. And the third dealt with appointments or how to select a person to the council that had somebody leave midterm. The existing practice that's in the charter provides that any person that leaves during the first 12 months in office, that there would be an election held for that vacancy. In the second year, the council would make an appointment of who they felt was most appropriate to finish off the term. The changes that were discussed on February 4th, the council asked to bring forward and have the solicitor draft in terms of a legislative amendment was, as you just read it, that instead of the council having the responsibility of appointing in the last 12 months, it would simply be the council would be appointing if either the 6th or the 7th person that ran for the last election were not capable or were turning down the right to be members of the council. What this also does is it takes away the need for us to spend monies for an election process for that special election. It also means that you have an opportunity to bring a replacement person on to get the council up to full strength sooner rather than you would if you had to conduct a special election. So the language was drafted by the solicitor. At this point, based on the informational hearing this evening, if the council wishes this to go forward, a resolution requesting that this be placed on the ballot in November, the next general election, for voter consideration. It would require at least a 50% majority to amend the existing town charter as presented.
Excellent. Any comments from the council on this?
I think that we discussed this at length at the last work session. I think this gives the voter a lot more say in who serves than the current condition, current set of circumstances that we have. So I
Right.
think this is an improvement.
I think this one was definitely sparked from the special election. There were a lot of people that were concerned with the amount of money it cost the taxpayers so soon after an election to have another special election. So this would certainly alleviate that.
Agreed. I think this is definitely due, and I think it's a good savings to the town. And like Steve said, it'll bring the council up to full strength sooner rather than the months of going through a special election, especially if there's a primary. So I'm happy to see this.
All of the legwork that everybody in the town, and particularly Dale and her crew, have to do in terms of a special election. It's like doing a regular election all over again, so it will definitely not only save money, but it'll save manpower as well.
All right. At this time, then, I would open it up for comments from the public, if there are any.
make a motion to close the public.
Hold on.
Oh, we got,
Bill Rosen, Kingston. I approve mainly of this amendment because it will save the town some money, and since it goes before the voters will have their say on how this is going to go forward. I do have one concern, and that is I really don't see the necessity for having the seventh candidate in line, because in years gone by, as I've looked over what has happened, usually the sixth person who's on the comes in sixth on the ballot usually is pretty close to the fifth member, but the seventh may be way down there in terms of the number of votes. And since you have the provision about that the council shall appoint if nobody comes forward that's qualified, I really don't see the necessity for having the seventh. No big deal in my mind, but it's just something I thought I'd bring forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we did discuss that, and that was a concern of a lot of us when we talked about it, because he's exactly right. Sometimes at seventh there can be a very big gap. But I think the argument was people didn't want us just appointing someone in that case, so they thought it was more fair to go to that seventh than have a council just appoint someone. That was the rationale, at least. So it will certainly go out to voters, and we'll see what their thoughts are, and if they don't like it, they can send it back, I think. But I see your point, and it was discussed.
I think the other issue is if over a two-year term, two people within the council were to leave for any given reason, you'd have a council appointment for the second person. I mean, Dr. Rosen is correct. I can't recall us ever seeing more than two people leave in any term, but there's two sides to it. It's either effective if you had a second person go out. I think that's the only argument I could see on that side of it.
I would add that I'm familiar with a case in Westerly where the next person in line declined, just didn't decide they couldn't do it. So that could come up also. That way you could go to the seventh.
Well, unless I hear a significant reason to change the language that a lot of people hear, then I'm happy to entertain a motion to clear.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the hearing is closed.
Then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and prepare the ballot question, and we'll begin the process with Dale to make sure it gets on the November ballot.
Do we want to entertain the idea of taking that seventh out and putting it as the sixth? I mean, we're looking to make a change. This is the time to do it. Once these changes get on the town charter, they're not easy to do. So if that is a concern that has been brought up with valid reasoning, I don't mind changing the language to the sixth person comes in, and after that, it goes to an appointment, or...
Do we have to reopen the public hearing to discuss that, or? Okay, good. I mean, I'm comfortable leaving it with the language as is. I think it would be very unusual to get to the point where we would need a seventh person. But I think that, was it the last election, not the special one, we had a lot of candidates run. So, I mean, I'm comfortable leaving it the way that it is, but if other people disagree, I'm not hard set on it.
I'm okay with the way it is, and frankly, if it gets to the ballot, the voter will tell us if they don't like it.
I agree with that as well. I'm comfortable leaving it the way it is.
In that case, what was that motion?
I make a motion to approve item 7A as described by the town solicitor with his comments.
Second?
it's going to be exactly as outlined in the agenda
Right.
that's set forth before you and the public.
And can I just say, I mean, I'm okay with this because it is going out to the voters, and the voters will have an opportunity to check it out, and if they don't like it, then back to the drawing board on that one.
So I amend my motion to say that 7A, as stated, in the context of this discussion with your comments, in the agenda.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously. And it brings us to item 8 on the agenda, communications. 8A is a resolution adopted March 8th, 2016 by the Warren Town Council relative to transportation categorical aid to regional school districts under the Education Equity and Property Tax Relief Act. It's been received and placed on file. What are we going to do with it?
We talked about this in the work session, and at that time, we agreed to, or talked about agreeing to place this on file.
So I'll make a motion to place item number 8A on file.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously. 8B is a communication received March 17th, 2016, from Ella Whaley, Secretary of the VFW Auxiliary, Post 916, requesting $5,000 in funding for building repairs, and it's been received and placed on file. I believe we have someone to speak on this.
If I may, Abel, I would just like to say I would like to recuse myself from any discussion and any voting for this topic. I happen to be very proudly the VFW Auxiliary President, so I will abstain from making any comment. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. Please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Steve Stewart. I'm speaking for the auxiliary and the VFW Post. The Post was built in 1930, and every generation thereafter has done their part to rebuild it. The World War II veterans did it, the Korean War veterans did it, the Vietnam veterans did it, and now we're coming up to Iraq and Afghanistan veterans are joining, but it needs repair. Some of the veterans are handicapped. Either they're in wheelchairs or they're mentally handicapped. But we still need to provide access to the VFW for these handicapped veterans. And as such, we are in the process now of, we'd like to put in a permanent handicap cement ramp with the rails, lights, the whole 9 yards to lead up into the second floor. And we also want to install a handicap bathroom up on the second floor, which has no bathrooms whatsoever. In order for someone to use the facilities, they have to go out, down the sidewalk, down North Street, I think it is, and in the back of the building. So we're requesting to get this started. This is going to be an ongoing proposal, I'm sorry. So it's going to probably take a year or two, maybe 3, to get the whole thing completed, because we're going to be doing everything. But this is just the start. So I would like to, say that we need to get this started as soon as possible. The weather is starting to break, I hope. And this would be a good, safe place for the veterans, because there's other veterans in there they can talk to. And they can, this helps an awful lot with their stress problems they have. We've noticed, I've noticed, I've been a member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 916 since 1984. And we've seen many, many veterans come in and they rattle on, and they come back the next meeting and they do the same thing again. And they finally, after about 2 or 3 meetings, they start to calm down and they get all off the chest and they feel great and they're a good citizen. And so this would just be a feather in our cap if we could get this appropriation passed for this handicap ramp, and that would be a start. And once you see something going and happening, it might generate more interest and more membership, and that's what we're hoping for, and along with, this acceptance of this communication. And do council members have any questions for me?
questions?
I was really happy to see this communication come in. I think it's like a staple down here on High Street, and I don't
Been a
think
long
it's
time.
changed since I
Yes.
was born. But I'm excited to hear you guys are doing some renovations. I think that they're long overdue, and I hope you'll let the community know when you do start them if you need some help, because I would love to get on board and help you guys.
We, just to give a brief rundown, we had a renovation done in 1982, which was the Korean veterans. The next renovation was the Vietnam veterans. That was in 1999 with Rod Rassel ran that one. So this will be just a continuing renovation, just keeping up with the Joneses. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
And are there any other questions? I'm sorry.
Oh.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion to place this on file and refer it to our budget hearings on the 13th and 14th,
I make a motion,
or on the,
Budget adoption meeting.
right, budget adoption, but I thought we would discuss it further at the,
There will be two public hearings conducted on the budget, but the first, or the next opportunity for amendment to the council's preliminary budget will be at the second meeting in April. I think it's the 25th.
25th. Okay. So I make a motion that we defer item 8B to the April 25th meeting for discussion when we vote to approve the budget.
Second.
so moved. Any further discussion? I do hope that we'll take it up and discuss it further when we have our budget hearings. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries 4-0 with one recusal. And that brings us to item 9 on the agenda, comments from interested citizens, which is public's opportunity to come to the podium, tell us how we're doing our jobs or not, and be out there. All right, any comments from council members?
Well, I would like to say happy birthday to West Kingston Elementary School. They celebrated their 40th this past week with a nice birthday celebration. So, happy birthday. I happened to be one of the first students in that brand-new school 40 years ago, and it was just beautiful. And going back there last week, it was every much as beautiful as it was 40 years ago. So, it was very exciting. And we have a few things coming up this weekend. I believe Friday night, the Animal Rescue League is having an event, so if you go onto their website and check that out. And then Saturday morning, the Johnny Cake is holding a brunch at George's. So 2 great events. It's a busy weekend. Usually all these events happen at once. And of course, we have tomorrow the groundbreaking for our new rec center, which hopefully everyone will be at. It's 9:30 tomorrow morning at the new rec center location right near the senior center. So I'm sure Terry Murphy's all excited with that.
Ready to go. I have one more event. On Thursday night, SK Cares is having their spelling bee for the, I don't know how many years in a row, but all of the proceeds go back to support of all of the children in our school. We as a town council have been involved with that for many years. And if anybody is interested in participating, that will be Thursday night held at the Elks Club, and I believe it's starting at 6 o'clock.
Just wanted to say thank you to Terry and the Parks and Rec Department for a wonderful Easter egg hunt. I wasn't able to go, but I heard from some people that went that it was just wonderful, and the breakfast with the Easter Bunny. So thank you for doing that. Every year it's great.
All right. I guess we'll go right into the town manager's report, but I hope you'll give us an update on the Solarize program like you were able to.
I was going to reference Doug McLean's memorandum of March 23rd. It's great to be able to report that there were 58 small-scale solar energy residential applications that were filed and contracts that have been let for those 58. This means that there's going to be over 354 kilowatts of electricity from solar from South Kingstown. As mentioned in the report that Doug filed, there were, I think, 6 communities that participated in the Solarized Rhode Island program, South Kingstown being one of them. We had 58 contracts, which was second only to Portsmouth. Overall, the Solarized Rhode Island program, when we take all of those communities together, are providing over 1.5 megawatts of power through this program. There's no municipal dollars, there's no state dollars. This is all a private sector investment, and it's residential in nature. As we go forward, we'll be looking more at the program that'll look at commercial as a potential program to expand the solar presence within the community itself. Smart Power, which is the state's nonprofit partner, will continue to provide education supports for documenting the savings associated with the solar. And Sol Power has been excellent to deal with, who is the vendor that will be purchasing the equipment on behalf of those 58 contracts. So I think this is a win-win program. It's certainly a great demonstration of the community's interest in alternative resources being used. So hats off to all the program participants, and I think Doug did a wonderful job in terms of providing the municipal liaison between the community itself and the vendor that was there for the program. Each of those houses were inspected, documentation as to how much could be put on each of the units, as well as telling people how much they couldn't do, so that there was not going to be a waste of money where the solar wouldn't be a viable asset. So it's worked well, and hopefully we could see programs like this continue in the future.
Thank you. Any other updates?
I was going to mention the groundbreaking tomorrow, but that's already been done. I yield to the solicitor if there's no questions.
And unless you have questions for me, I'm all set.
Not this time. All right, we have some appointments, or reappointments, perhaps, and an appointment.
Appointment first, I'd like to make a resolution to appoint Steve DeMasi to the Planning Board for a term to expire May of 2019.
Second?
So moved. Any discussion?
Just wanted to say, I was not present for the interview, so I'm going to abstain from the vote, but I trust my fellow council members and their judgment in appointing him.
I think he'll do a good job of bringing some balance to the commission there. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously.
One abstention.
Oh, sorry, with one abstention. Still unanimous. And some reappointments.
Resolution for reappointment to the Building Code Minimum Housing Code Board of Appeals, Stephen Clark, for a term to expire in June of 2020.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. And was that every-
And then three reappointments to the Waterfront Advisory Commission, Timothy O'Neill, Michael Sherry, and Ronald J. Smith, for terms to expire June of 2019.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. And brings us to item 13, new business. Item A is a resolution continued from March 14th, 2016, to appoint a representative to the Wild and Scenic Rivers Study Committee. We have not had an applicant come forward for that, so I'd entertain a...
Just make a motion to remove that from the agenda.
Second, and I did talk to the candidate. He's aware that he has to fill out an application, and hopefully we'll do that in the future.
All right. All right, we have a motion and a second, right?
Mhm.
Yes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that is gone. 13B, a resolution authorizing an award of bid to Colonial Chevrolet of Acton, Massachusetts for 3 2016 Chevrolet Equinox all-wheel drive SUVs in accordance with the State of Rhode Island Master Price Agreement. It's in an amount not to exceed $63,576 and is further described in a memo from the Public Services Director to the Town Manager, March 17.
John Shock's memo says it all. Master price agreement allows for the purchase of $21,192 for an all-wheel drive vehicle. We're looking to purchase 3 of those. Those are budgeted within the capital improvement program.
Do we hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve item number 13B.
Second?
So moved. Any discussion?
So I just have a question, Steve. It indicates in John's memo that 2 vehicles are deadlined. What do we do with those? Do we scrap those, or, I mean, I understand there's no trades, but...
Yeah, they would be taken to the highway garage, and then we would surplus them if somebody wanted to buy them for parts.
Any further comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously. Item D is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to Liberty Chevrolet of Wakefield for the purchase of 1 2016 Chevrolet Silverado 3500 stake body truck in accordance with all bid specifications in an amount not to exceed $37,680, as further described in a memo from the Director of Leisure Services to the Town Manager.
3 bids were received on this. The lowest qualified bid was from Liberty Chevrolet. I want to make it clear, too, that we do send out the circulars for this to all of our local vendors. I think sometimes it's just a case of some of the fleet acquisitions that some of these other companies have, and we're not seeing the local bids come through.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 5D,
H5, 13D.
13D, sorry about that.
Second?
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously. Item E is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to New England Ice Solutions of 380 Lafayette Road in Seabrook, New Hampshire, to furnish and install an ice dam prevention system to complete the project at the Peacedale Library in amount not to exceed $28,351, including a $2,577 contingency, further described in a memo from the library director to the town manager.
As I indicated earlier this evening, we've had some major difficulties at the Peacedale Library based on the design of that building with ice buildup on each of the corners. We've experienced some severe damage to the building as a result of the ice dams that have accumulated. The system that we're looking to purchase will deal with those isolated areas and provide us with protection to prevent the ponding that currently does occur. Funding for this project will come from the Narragansett Library Association, which is the owner of that building, from their asset base. Ask the council to approve as presented.
I make a motion that we approve item 13E as discussed in the work session and presented in the agenda.
Second?
So moved. Any discussion on this item?
Steve, I just had a question about, in the memorandum, we had talked to other people who had used this vendor,
Yes.
and one of them pointed out that to run the system continuously was very expensive, so I guess we would...
Yeah, we're going to be looking at what we can do. I mean, we know that there really are only certain times of the year, very short times of the year, that we're really going to need that type of system in operation. If we need to have a rewiring to allow us to be able to monitor that, we certainly can look at that.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously. Item F is a resolution authorizing the submission of a letter of support to the Rhode Island Public Transit Authority for the Peacedale Neighborhood Revitalization Incorporated's Transart Bus Shelter Initiative, confirming the town council's general support of the initiative and the council's findings that the funding contingencies of design and location have been satisfactorily met, in accordance with the resolution dated October 13th, 2015.
I think Amy's memo really identifies each of the issues that had been expressed in terms of concerns. The town's committee has reviewed the location and is comfortable with the location. The design is still yet to be accomplished in cooperation with the state. There'll be a committee that'll have municipal representation within that committee. We're also looking at them being able to sign the maintenance contract. We'll provide the assistance if necessary. What we're also looking at is to make sure that it's ensured that the first $2,500 will be coming from the local organization, and anything below the $50,000 cost will come back to South Kingstown on a percentage share. So I think we're certainly asking the council to consider endorsing at this point to provide the letter that's necessary for RIPTA to begin moving the process forward. One final comment is that this project is probably 2 years away from being actually implemented. The reason being that because of the location being on High Street within the construction area itself, once a bid for the reconstruction of High Street is let, the contractor is responsible for everything within that right-of-way. That contractor is not going to allow for any activities to occur within the right-of-way that they do not have direct control over. So until that project is ready to be turned back over to the state, then at that point, the shelter will be able to be constructed. We still have concerns in making sure that we've got the 36-inch width as far as the ADA compliance requirements. We also have concerns on what the design will be, but that will go through the committee that I think will have sufficient input on.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 13F.
Second.
So moved. Any further discussion?
Just want to say thank you to Amy for all your work with this. I'm a volunteer with PDNRI, and Amy's been present for most all the meetings and discussing it and always available for information, and just really appreciate your help. And I'm excited to see this project, even though it's 2 years away, get into motion finally.
Yeah, I'd second that, and I'd say that it's really nice that we have a landowner there who's willing to work with the project as well. With that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. Item 13H is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to WB Mason of Bald Hill Road in Cranston for furniture for the Main Street Intermodal Comfort Station conference room in an amount not to exceed $4,997, and further authorizing said purchase to be funded from the contingency fund, further described in a memo from the Director of Leisure Services to the town manager.
Items H and I both pertain to the contingency charges. The council is responsible for any expenditures or authorizations for any expenditures from the contingency. What we're asking here this evening is to commit two projects. One, the intermodal furniture, which is necessary so that once we do take possession of that building, to have a proper setup for use by nonprofit organizations or town offices. The second item, which will be in the item I, is to provide the authorization for an award of contract that will allow for the lettering of the veteran names that need to be added to the war monument at Saugatucket Park. So I would say that with a $65,000 contingency, there's been $12,500 committed, one for the $7,500 for the Transart and $5,000 toward the Wakefield Village Association banner project. Obviously, if that project doesn't go through, those dollars will not be expended. We're looking at the intermodal furniture at the $49.97, $9,000 for the veterans inscription. We're also looking to expend the dollars necessary to provide the equipment for videoing of town council, or actually any meetings that would occur, that there was space available for cable presentation. We expect that at that point, there'll be about $3,500 left in the contingency, but we would ask the council to consider tonight those two items that are items I and H, which is the memorial inscription as well as the furniture. Be glad to answer questions on either of those two items.
I'll make a motion to approve agenda items 13H and I.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those pass unanimously. That brings us to item 14 on our agenda, which is a closed executive session. I'll need a specific motion to,
I'll make a motion to close the public session and move to executive session.
Second.
you have to read it.
I make a motion to convene to a closed executive session pursuant to RIGL 42-46-5 to discuss matters related to acquisition or lease of real property for public purposes or of the disposition of publicly held property wherein advanced public information would be detrimental to the interest of the public.
need a second.
Second.
So
Okay,
moved.
you need a roll call vote. Council President Collins,
Aye.
Council Vice President Healy,
Aye.
Councilwoman Clow,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gledhill,
Aye.
Councilman Veely.
Aye.
Unanimous affirmative vote to recess to closed executive session at 8:12.